Today I'm going to give you a simple way to think about quality. Now, quality on the PMP exam and really quality in your job, in your company, all these things wrapped up in one, all right? And we're going to use a real life example that a lot of you guys might actually know and been a part of, all right? So today on PMP Exam Secrets with Scott, it's all about quality. So let's do this thing. Well, what do you need to know about quality on the PMP exam? And I'm talking about like the quality knowledge area, right? Is that there's going to be a ton of questions, and basically you have to understand what technique, what tool is being used, why it's being used, what it provides you, all those things. And for a lot of you out there that aren't in the quality space, haven't done this, I started out trying to break into process improvement and things. I got a quality job. So I got thrown into this world of 5S and all these different graphs and diagrams and everything. And it became second nature. But for a lot of you, it's not your bag. So not a big deal. I can explain it. So what you do not want to do is you do not want to go crazy on all these graphs and just like try to memorize them. We know that, right? What we want to do is try to understand it. So let me tell you a real example that'll help give you the big picture concepts, and then you can, attach everything to it. All right. And so overall quality, I want you to think of it as an investment. Okay. Quality is an investment. Is it as achievable by anybody? It's just a matter of how much time and money we want to put behind it. Now think about anything you do in life. If you want to go fast and loose, you can deliver a product, you can deliver a service, you can make a ham sandwich, and you could deliver it, and it could be of terrible quality, right? You could just pop it out there. But if you really wanted to make it, Michelin quality restaurant, whatever, just top-notch ham sandwich, then take more time. You put more time and investment into it. You got the best breads. You hire the best chefs. Use the best tools. You booze the best everything in there. You double, triple check it, blah, blah, blah. All these things. You can get a really great product. It's just where and how do you want to invest the time and money? And as we think back about time and money, if you at the end of the day, if your goal is a happy customer, which is my goal as a teacher, a professor, as a student that passes, and whatever your business and company you're in, if your goal is to have that person at the end of the day happy with your product in the hand, then quality is something that you're going to pay for at some time and in some way. And now, the way I want you to think about that is, if you spend the money up front, there's a greater chance that you don't have to spend it on the back end. But if you don't spend it up front and during and build it into your process, you're going to have to spend it on the back end. Because someone is going to come to you and go, yo, you sold me a ham sandwich and it's got holes in the bread, brother. I got mustard all over my fingers. What are you going to do about it? So then you're going to have to pay for it, right? So you're going to get quality regardless, but you're going to pay for it in different ways. So here's the example, all right? So clear the mind, clear a table in our head, and follow me. I have built this training thing from, you and me, or me just trying to figure this thing out on my own after going to a terrible pmtraining.com class and being like, this is the worst thing ever. I'll do it myself. I got no choice. So I wrote my own book, did all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. We're here where we are now. We're doing our best. Now, one of the things that I want to do is like, dude, I want to make the experience for the customer and the trainer, for everybody, for the trainers that I have working for me, for the students that I'm training, for me, for everybody. I want it to be just better. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build a website. When I say I mean we, the company, me and the team and everybody. And I go, we're going to build a new website that's going to be razzle dazzle awesome. It's going to have all these features. So what did we do? We started, getting requirements going, laying them out. We work in a hybrid type agile environment at our company, and we started laying them out. All right. And so let's just take this first big release we did, which we just did a basic heart transplant of our site. And it's really awesome. It's really great. And here's how it went down. All right. And so as we did it, we said, this is a big, big deal for us and y'all and anybody else out there. We want to nail this thing down. And so we said, all right, to do this, what do we got to invest in? We got to invest to make sure at the end of the day, the customer, the person that's listening and going to the simulator and taking the classes and doing all that jazz is happy. It feels comforted, feels secure, is smiling, right? So picture that face at the end of the street. That's where we're going. Now with this site, we said, there's different things that we can do. And so as we started right off the bat, if you walk with me, if you were in that meeting with me on Zoom the first day, you'd say like, well, what can we do right off the bat to set us up to be successful, right? Picture yourself, like you and me talking, and Rachel and Sandy and all these other people talking about it. Like, what could we be doing? And so you might say something like, well, we could hire the best developers, and we could hire an awesome UI and UX person, and we could really spend time to document our requirements. And we could really give these developers the time and the techniques and the skills, or we can't give them the skills, but we could give them the opportunity to build the skills, and we give them the software, we can give them all the support they needed so that they could build it right. And then obviously I'd be like, amen, brother and sister, I want to do that. And that's what we did, right? And so Rachel went out, got the right developers, helped them, train them, build them up, gave them the right support and all this stuff, the UI, UX person, all that stuff. You know who you are out there, Caleb, like brought them all. And so you can see like investments made at the beginning where we could have just said, hey, go get some developer dudes and dudettes and just roll. And we said, no, slow it down, get it right, do this thing, let's do that. Cost a lot more money, took a lot more time, had a lot more training and hand-holding to get them up to speed and make sure that they're all in line with what we're trying to do it. So you see that little chunk of time, that little thing we did right there? What we call that, for you guys that are out there and you know this world, this is in the cost of conformance thing. What we're really trying to do is say, build it right the first time, or closest to what we can. So that's conformance, that it meets the expectations of you out there who would be using it, right? So that's a cost of conformance, money, time spent to do that. And it's a prevention cost, meaning that we're doing this stuff up front, investing, setting people up to prevent them from making a mistake, of having the wrong expectations and understandings, building the wrong product, doing it, incorrectly, all those things. So when you think about the first thing in quality, and the thing where you want to spend your money the most, is in prevention costs. What it takes to build the product, do the service right the first time. So we're on the website journey, you and me right now. We got that prevention cost. Would we stop there? Would we go, got the right stuff, got the right people, gave them the right direction, trained them a little bit, make sure they're comfortable, they know exactly what they're trying to do, we're checking up, we're doing daily stand-ups, etc. Is that it? We just let them do, and then go on? Is that what we would do? No. You would probably look at me and go, okay, Scott, sweet. Next thing we ought to do is we ought to have, iterative checks to see how things are going. And we might want to do user acceptance testing, and we might want to do these like just pushes and try to figure out that, are we doing things right? And we're going to run these other tests on the data and everything else and make sure that it's going right, and hit the buttons backwards and sideways and do all these things, right? And so we said, yeah, that seems like a really good idea, because even though we did that prevention stuff, we still might make some mistakes, right? And we want to run it through its paces and learn. Now that almost got me into like the agile kind of cycle of learning, but we're going to stay right there. So we're still doing things to make it be produced correctly. All right. So we did that prevention stuff. Now, all those checks, what we did was we had people go in there and test it and do inspections and push the buttons and run the tests. And that's all assessing the quality of what they built. So it's still in the vein of get it right the first time, but what we're doing is we're appraising the quality. And so all the time, effort, and money that we spent doing that would be considered appraisal cost. So think about the two buckets of money that we spent. Stuff for prevention, do it right. Stuff to check that we did it right. And that's appraisal. So two chunks of money that we spent. Prevention cost and appraisal cost. And those are all in the cost of conformance. Let's do it right the first time. All right? Now, those are two sides of it, and that is where you get a real good bang for your buck on quality spending. If you do that right, what do you do? What are you trying to accomplish? You're trying to lessen the amount of like customers screaming at you at the end saying, it doesn't work. Because that stuff, my friends, is a lot more expensive, right? As we get into this, we really want to think about where we're spending money and, the levels that will be needed to spend, okay? So right now we've prevented, we've appraised. Now, before this thing was released, do you think it was just good enough to say, hey, we've checked it every little bit, we've prevented our changes, we had the right people doing the stuff, just release it? Nah, we want to do one big or a couple big, real deep tests, right? It's just like, think of it as on the loading dock at this point, ready to go, ready to be shipped. But we want to run it through the paces internally. And when we find it, then the thing's pretty much built. The site's ready to roll. Domains are getting ready to be flipped over, all that magic that happens in the background. But there's one last check before it goes off into the magic of, real launch land. And then we look through it. And I'll tell you something that happened. We found some stuff that somehow, we're not perfect. That somebody hit some buttons in some sequence where things went all catawampus. And they found it. Oh, shoot, we forgot that. And oh, you uploaded the wrong link, dude. And then the wrong document version. There's a lot being updated. So we found failures internally before it went to y'all. And this is just real life stuff. I'm, opening kimono telling you everything that really happened. And so what would we call that? It ain't a good thing, but it's good to do. We found it. But that's like the stuff had already been built. So this is the term I want you to remember, internal failure cost. So we found it internally before it went to the customer. All right, before it went to production. And what do we have to do with those things? We didn't have to regrind welds and, redo the welds because it's not that type of product, but we had to do rework. Take the developers and put them back in there, get it fixed up, do some redesigns, whatever it is, test it out again, get the quality people involved. Took more time, took more money. That's the way it goes. And do you think that was cheap? Nah, the deeper things go into the project and you find them, the more they cost. It's the name of the game. Sucks, but that's the way it goes. So every step along the way, it gets more and more costly to fix the mistakes because more and more has been invested up to this point. So that's why they say you want to build quality into the product early. So that's what we have right now, but it's important for us and you and your company to catch it before it goes out. So what have we done right now? Let's just review. Right off the bat, we did prevention cost, right? We invested in prevention cost. Then we invested in appraisal cost. Check it. And those two are wrapped up into the cost of conformance. Now, right when it's on that loading dock, what did we do? We checked it again deep for internal failure costs. We found it. Oh no. And this has been built. So if not cost of conformance, make it right. This is cost of it screwed up. Now we got to make it right. It's the cost of non-conformance. It does not meet the expectations. That's what then internal failure cost. Now that's terrible, right? We don't want that to happen. We want it to sail through those testing, but in a sense, we're glad that you didn't find it and we found it. And then once it's ready to go, awesome, little bit delay. What do? Hit the button, do all the magic behind the scenes, switch the domains, blah, blah, blah. It's live. Magic. And then you know what happens? Those little ghosts from Pac-Man somehow come through the internet machine, get into the site, and just start eating stuff. And that's just the way it goes, my friends. You have some glitches. You have some bugs. You have some defects. That's the way it goes. I don't know why. It always happens. You do your best. But this is where the rubber meets the road for you, your team, and everybody else. And this is where we have some real fun retrospective conversations afterwards. Because when we launched, total transparency, we had some issues. Some things didn't work. Some things reverted. They didn't take, whatever. I'm not the product owner. I'm not an expert in tech. It's all assignable causes, meaning they knew the reason why, but they just had to fix it. But the bad part was the customer was hitting the buttons and experiencing it. Now, what do we call that other than a heart attack? We call it external failure cost. It's the worst. It's the worst. It happens. Think about all these different things like It could be warranty costs if we were in that kind of business. It could be lost business because people say, I'm out. I don't want to do this. They could say liabilities if someone got hurt. Obviously, websites different than cars, but those are the kind of things. Or if somebody sent a product back and said, oh, you made my car wrong. I need you to fix it. Sending it back, And so for us, it was all hands on deck, get those things fixed, talk to the customers, work the relationships, make sure they feel comfortable, make sure nobody loses any study time, and get it going. That's the most expensive because it's in live fire. It's dealing with customers, and there's risk involved in all that. So those are things because of failures that met the outside world. So we continue to get better. If you were along with this journey where I was just talking through like what it goes through, we've had good conversations inside company. We'll continue about what are we going to do better next time? How are we going to set this up now? What did we learn about the launch? What did we learn about the way in which we created this system, this new site? So what I want you to learn from this is to see that all this quality, it's real life. Like whatever you're doing, look at the product that you are involved in at your company, the service, whatever it is, and say, what is the real cost of quality? What's the total cost of quality? Not just like what you see those people around, in the plant or anywhere else walking around with a white lab coat type thing and a clipboard, or the training that you put the people through to do the work, the fabricators, whatever it is. It's what's the total cost of quality? How much time, how much money is invested to fix it when you find it in the plant when it's wrong? How much time, reputation, money is spent, lost, whatever, in shipping things back from the customer? How much warranty is involved in this? All those things add up to the total cost of quality. So when you think about it, if you were in my spot or in your spot, and you're having to project the total amount of money that we are going to have to spend to make sure the only thing that we care about happens, which is the customer is smiling ear to ear, we've got to invest it in these different buckets. Upfront prevention, right? Then it's appraisal, which is done layered on top, right? And then we're going to say, you know what? This internal, we're going to check it and fix it, and we're going to do it right. And then if it gets to the customer, we're going to do the honorable thing, the contractual thing, the thing we got to do to be good people, good business people. Everything is we're going to fix it. We're going to make it right, and we're going to learn from it. And that's external. So we got cost of conformance, make it right. And then cost of non-conformance, which is make it right when you didn't make it right. And as you see from cost of conformance to non-conformance, the risk and the cost gets so much higher for any mistake as it goes down the value chain. All right? So I want you to visualize quality, because once you do that, how does it help? Well, now it seems like we're playing for something, right? It seems like every step of the way that we go, what kind of tests would we run when we're appraising it so that we could see problems? Oh, that seems valuable. And so what we could do is say, just as an example, we go, hey, we can use these awesome things called statistical process control charts, which normally seem like really confusing and whatever, but here's what they do. They let us know if anything's out of the normal. Anything, the system is out of whack. So that we can say, whoa, pause, stop, whoa. Something might be weird here. See this graph? This point is really high or really low. And that might indicate that something's wrong. And if we keep going, we're going to produce a lot of things that are out of spec. And what a gift that is. What a gift to be able to look at a chart that mathematically figures out, very, very simply, that you potentially have a problem. And then what do? You do what any third grader would do and ask, what caused it? Why did that happen? And just keep asking why. Why did that happen? Well, why did that happen? Well, why did that happen? And why did that happen? And then we get into the 5 whys and the fishbone diagram, where we're chasing down what the potential cause is. Because at that point, if you've got a production line, if you've got a process, if you got developers and you see something wrong, what are you hungry for when you found that problem? If it's your money on the line, if your reputation, your company, you're trying to find that goddamn problem. You're trying to figure out what the issue is. And what those things do, the statistical process control chart throws up things that you might have a problem. The 5 why, the fishbone diagram, Ishikawa, another name, says this is possibly the reason. Let's investigate. Right? You might have other grams, like a histogram. Here is the distribution of the data. It may be because of this. You might have a Pareto. This is the most common issue that we're having. Let's go understand it better. Once you start laying reasons behind quality, then you start seeing these quality tools as daggers that you can use to slay that beast of bad quality. All right? So it's all an investment. It's all logical. It's all something we can understand. And, as a dude that's doing his best to release products that work really well, and I'm so proud of the team, and we can get so much better every step of the day. It's like, this shit's serious and it's important. And then on the exam, if you can visualize that stuff, easy peasy it gets, because you understand that cost of quality is made up of what? The cost of conformance, make it right, and the cost of non-conformance. Fix it when you screw it up. And then inside of cost of conformance, what do we got? Prevention cost, let's get it right. Appraisal cost, let's confirm we got it right. And then on the non-conformance side is, woo, thank God we caught it before the customer got it. That's internal failure cost. And then external failure cost is, ma'am, I'm sorry it got to you. I'm going to do everything in my power to fix it right now. We're going to send a truck. We're going to bring it back. I apologize. It will not happen again. That's quality. That's quality. So, I hope you liked it. You're going to learn, keep going, learn a lot, dive into quality, look at it from a new lens, bring yourself to the party, and that's the way to make it finally make sense. Sweet. Well, if you're on for this long, dude, and you want to hear me rant like this more often, join the accelerator, or at least come on, or do this thing and just hit the button for apply for the accelerator. Most likely we'll just get on a call. I know that 100%. And then we'll chat it out and see what it is. Most times, I give you advice. Hey, this is what I think you should do, et cetera, et cetera. Here's how we could help you. You make the decision. And then if you want to sit on one of these calls, these coaching calls that we do, yeah, not a problem, dude. You can come and sit on. And then that's the cool thing. I get to see your brain work. And a lot of times I'm like, you're ready to rock and roll? Well, sometimes. And a lot of times it's like, yo, I see some holes. Let's close those babies up and let's destroy this thing. So, you know the deal. Go to my website. You can go check. Why don't you do this shit? Check out the new website. See what you think. And then hit the apply button, do that, or hit the inquiry button, and you can talk to me. Or call me, 757-759-5282. Or email me, scott@pmmasterprep.com. It is Sunday while I'm recording this. Sorry, I've been a little loose in the language. Sorry if the kids are listening. I apologize, but I got into it. And I'll talk to you later. Alligator. Bye-bye.